I very much thank Daniel Pitarch Fernandez, who's here for our conference on creativity and algorithms at University L'Orientale. He's member of a collective, of an artist collective named Tallere Stampa, and he's based in Barcelona, and the collective is composed of programmers, filmmakers, and researchers. Their practice is grounded in a critical and archaeological approach to audiovisual and digital technologies, with a particular attention to archival and experimental media. Their most recent installations have been presented in the exhibition The World Through AI, Jeu de Paume, 2025. Emanuele Arielli mentioned this exhibition yesterday. And Movements for Staying Alive, I like the title, Modern Art Oxford 2025. He will speak about resonance models and other counter metaphors, art practice and AI discourses.
So first, many thanks for inviting us to this conference here in Naples. And as said, we are an artistic collective. We are based in Barcelona. We are 5 members. I am here, and we have also the pleasure to have Roc as well, which is another member of Stampa, which happens to be in Naples today also. And we have different expertises, and we work on audiovisual media, on artistic research projects, on a lot of projects on art and archive. And we had this particular line of work since 2017, which is about AI. And we always say about the tools and ideologies of AI. For us, the technical and the discourse in a way are the same. So in a way, it's also a way to responding that something that was said before, and that with this discourse that some practices are kind of meta about the technology. But for us, of course, this can be discussed, but the ground for us is that there is not such an approach that could be said it's meta on the technology, because the ideology is already embedded in the technology. The way we talk about things is the way things are. So for us, that's kind of a ground. Of course, that can be discussed, but it's a ground in a way. And I cannot do it with a mouse. Okay. And this is an incomplete list of our projects on AI from 2017 to 2025, and I will return about this later. But the first project we did on AI has a title that we like a lot, and in a way it's kind of programmatic for us. It's the Bad Pupil, Critical Pedagogy for Artificial Intelligence. And we like it a lot because this title focuses on one of the metaphors of these technologies, learning, and put therefore the technology and the metaphor on the forefront, and in a way reverse it by asking for a critical pedagogy or for a bad student that refuses to learn or mimic the normative context of AI. And here I have the statement of the book, which is the book of the project, which is trilingual in Catalan, Spanish, and English. It's something that we wrote in 2018, but in a way we stand with it. And also that's something that it's important for us in a way, because in this world of technological novelty, we have always this discourse about everything is new. Each day there's something new that supersedes what was before, but we think there's a continuity, and we think that also this novelty that kind of overwhelms us. It's a kind of, it forms part of its ideology of AI in a way, that we are being like day by day overwhelmed by technology. So for us, it's also important that something said years before, we stand by it and think it's still interesting. And in this statement, we characterize AI as automation. That's something that we always do when we talk about AI. The first word that we think we should think about when talking about AI, for us, it's not creativity or intelligence or whatever, but it's more automation. Of course, maybe later we can talk about these things, about intelligence, creativity, etc. But we think that an interesting door to enter to AI is to think it about being automation, which is different from being autonomous as well. And in this statement, we characterize AI like this, and we want to be aware, we try to be aware of the larger field where AI grows, which is a field made of massive monitoring, extractivism, internet platforms, attention economy, what we could name in a way big data ideology. And this is something that we want to be always aware of. In a way, we can use a metaphor of figure ground in a way. This is the ground, and we want to be aware always of this ground, and the projects are figures that in a way we construct over this, but we want to be aware of this. And that's why we choose this title of the bad pupil, what we want to champion the bad student. So anything that escapes this normative context where AI has grown. Then for us, this could be non-mimetic AI versus an AI that reproduces human activities on an inhuman scale, or also trying to use AI against the grain to point to this normative ground. This is, or as you see a bit, we like a lot words, and we try to be very precise and playful about the words that we use. And this is an article that we brought as a companion piece to an installation that we made at CCCV, a cultural center and museum in Barcelona. And we like also to choose the words in a proper but in a playful way as well. And in this article, we characterize AI as being reflex action. For us, AI could be this, like something that it's a reflexive action. So also that can, in a way, it's kind of has a compulsive nature also. And in this article, for instance, and this is also something we try to do in our projects to intervene in the public discourse about the AI and counterweight a bit. And as there is always this kind of futuristic discourses around AI, for us, in this article, we found this, we said this, that maybe it's interesting to be aware that in a way, AI is more a kind of a reification of the past. So therefore, if it's the future looks like a reification of what has happened. And I'm just doing a short introduction on our practice, and then I will show you some of our projects. And also, which is also important in our practice, is that we try to work locally. So we have our own hardware in the studio. When we do generative projects, we train our own models, and we work with the AI tools through code, etc. So in a way, we work in an artisanal way on AI. And this is a way to opposing to the kind of industrial AI. And industrial AI was the focus of one of our projects, which is the cartography of generative AI, when we try to map all what is necessary and all the resources, ecological, labor resources related to industrial AI. So this was a short of introduction on our practice and our main lines. And I now will explain some of our projects. As I said to you before, this is an incomplete list of the projects we have done on AI. And a way to look to this list could be by the technology we have used in each project. And this is not because any fetishization of technology in itself, but it's because the technology, it's also the subject of each of these projects. With the projects, they all have a reflexive side, and we want to it's a bit reflexive about what AI is and what it is about. So we want to understand how AI works, and we want to intervene in the public discourse about AI. And we want to do both through practice. We don't want to be, in a way, AI to be out of our hands, but we want to keep it in our hands. So I will do, I have many examples. I will skip some maybe, but I will do an overview of some of our projects in this way. The first project I'm going to talk about are the projects that delve on computer vision, which was the first thing that we started working on with AI. And in this very first project, in the Bad Pupil, we started working with computer vision models. and we start feeding them with all kinds of images, and of all kinds of images that are historical images. No? For instance, painting. So images that were not supposed to be looked by these models, which are more based on contemporary images. And we like a lot, and this is just a selection, we like a lot when there was a mislabeling there. And of course, the mislabeling, it's not a way to point that we are not saying that this doesn't work properly, but it's more that the mislabel signals us the difficulty to assign words to things. So the distance between words and images is what we are interested in this computer vision project. Or for instance, here, no, there's a computer vision model that has this word, the word lover. No? So the word lover make us think, could this be something that the computer vision model wants to try to label in an image? And we say that in a way, it's like this selection of mislabelings. It's like if these tools that are meant to close the meaning of an image, it's like here they are opening the meaning of an image. And that's also something that we find interesting. It's like a bit like saying, wouldn't it be wonderful that these tools, instead of working for that, will work for this other way, like opening the meaning of images. As you see, also we like a lot like poetry or humor. So that's for us, it's a way to counterbalance in a way the normative use of these tools. And as you see, we use a lot of historical images. We like this distance that produces the historical image and the contemporary tool. And the mislabel, for instance, here, now we see the swan label, that we can see why it was labeled as a swan, but it's this metaphor and this way of opening the meaning of the image. And we started this in the first project, in the Bad Pupil, but we have been working with this up until now, and this is a series that we have been producing recently. And these images, which are originally are from Etienne Jules Marais, from the scientist of the 19th century of chronophotography. And we printed them on glass. And I just show this because this is a way to formalize it that make reference to this historical side on historical materiality. So seeing these images printed on glass with a computer vision produces a kind of a strange temporal twist that we like a lot for thinking about these technologies. This is a different project. It's a video essay that it's called What Do You See, YOLO 9000? YOLO 9000 is a computer vision model that we use. And the title, it's in itself a strategy for us. We want to ask things to the tools. And this is the beginning of the video essay. And here we play with a display, with a display of these tools, with the graphic output of these tools. And for us, this is playing with it because we like it aesthetically, but also because it explains something about the technology. We see here that this technology sees the image and conceives the image in a discrete manner. It's not the whole image which it analyzes, but it's only small fragments. So this is a video essay. As you see, one strategy we applied here is to play with the graphic output of the tool. So we want to work with things and modify it. And that's something that we did. Oops, sorry. I think I missed one. Okay, no, I thought I had another slide. And this is an excerpt of the same video essay. This is a short scene that we can where we use a lot of film references. So here we're using Dziga Vertov, the sixth part of the world. So for us, this is a way to link contemporary technologies to previous technologies, because we think that's also one of the strategies of technological novelty, like speaking in a way from the future and making us forget all the links that it has with the past. And of course, linking it to the past is a way to understand better how things work. And here we link it with Vertov, which is talking about machines, about the capital world, machines looking at us. And there are several other film references here. The collage, the appropriation, the found footage film is one of our languages, and we bring this language to the AI world. And we like to find this kind of reflexive images. Here you see this also well-known image by Orson Welles, where the people is reflected many times, and we see that each reflection has a different label. So it explains something about the technology and also about the absurdity of trying to label a person, for instance. And this is the end of this video essay. And here we play with a different thing with these tools. I'm trying to explain you the strategies that we adopt. So there's this strategy of modifying the graphic output. There's this strategy of the collage of the found footage. And here there's also this strategy of the found footage. This is, of course, a well-known, we are using this well-known scene by Chantal Akerman in her masterpiece, John Dillman. And but here we are working with something with internal parameter of these tools, which is the confidence threshold. So these tools, when they apply a label to something, they apply it with a confidence threshold, which has a percentage. So they say this is a person, and I'm confident with a 30% percentage of this. Okay, and if you can use the tool through code and you can tweak a bit there, you can lower this threshold. You can say, I want to see everything that's up over 30 or over 20. So what we did here was lowering the threshold, the confidence threshold. So we started with 20 and 19, 18, 10, 5, 3, 1, 0.9, 0.8, 0.7. So in a way, it's playing with the tools, and it's a strategy, almost a psychological strategy. It's like we're saying the tool, tell me more, tell me more, tell me more, explain me. What do you see? What is your vocabulary? How do you see the world? And also, as you see a bit, we like a lot the contemporary aesthetics also. And we like this aesthetic of the label. And also we think that this, in a way, it's interesting image of the present. In a way, we feel sometimes like this. We feel like overwhelmed, and we feel like if the world, if it was difficult to move in our present world, because we are overwhelmed by these technologies that monitors ours. This is another project that we did on computer vision. It's called Imágenes Huéspedes in Castellano. In English, it will be called Host Images. And this is a project we did in Tabacalera in San Sebastian. And there's also several computer vision tools, a segmentation tool. This one is a pose estimation tool. This one tries to infer the depth of the image. And this one is an object recognition tool. And it's exploring these tools. It's showing their graphic output. And for us here, what we see is several things about computer vision. First, that we cannot reconstruct the original image. So we have several computer vision models, but we cannot reconstruct the original image. We see that computer vision, in a way, means to filter the world. So that computer vision is filtering things, it's projecting meanings into things. So seeing it's never simple. When we heard that machine sees, for us and for a lot of people, of course, there starts a lot of questions. So it's amazing that machines can see, but a lot of questions start from there. It's not something that it's closed, the discussion, because we know a lot of things about seeing. And also for us, this project, we like it. We like the title as well. As you see, we like a lot of words, and we try to be precise and playful about it. And we like the title because for us, it's like if contemporary images are host images. It's like if contemporary images, if I can use a visual metaphor, it's like they are thickened now, images, and a lot of things happen behind images. And for us, in a way, it's like if artificial computer vision, it's a kind of a parasitic of images today. And behind images, a lot of things happen. So when we post an image on a social network or wherever, when an image enters a digital circuit, a lot of things will begin to happen. And this project is a way, we say, somehow to laminate some of these things and trying to show it a bit. And one of our last projects, was in this exhibition that has already been mentioned, curated by Antonio Somaini. His name was there, but now it's behind the Zoom call. Yeah. Okay. So there we had two installations, and one was about computer vision as well. It is called Ekphrasis. Here in Jet de Pomme was projected like this. And recently, it has been shown also in an art fair in Paris as well, which is called Offscreen, and was shown there in his original intended form, which is with 9 separate screens. And Ekphrasis is another work on computer vision. You see it here. I think it's because of the computer that it's not reproducing smoothly. But it's a piece that uses appropriation as well, film excerpts, sorry. And we see there some film excerpts which are analyzed by several computer vision models. And the first things that we have with this installation is that you are kind of overwhelmed by the computer temporality. You cannot read everything. It goes faster than your perception. So that's one first thing of this installation. A second thing that it's important in this installation, it's the title, which is ekphrasis. It's this rhetorical figure that means the textual description of an image. And for us, we are not theoreticians, but for us, it's important, this title, as said before, like a way to link these contemporary technologies to previous discourses. So now we have tools that can describe an image, that can label an image. But again, this is something that has a long tradition that we can discuss about a lot about how can we do this. There is a proper way of doing this. All these computer vision projects for us also are always about the impossibility to exactly match words and images. That's what we want to work here. And that's also what we think that counterweights a bit the discourse on this. So we see again here the distance between words and images with this strategy of hiding what is behind the words. So you cannot reconstruct. And there are diverse tools here. One that tries to infer the gender there. One about emotions. One that adds tag to the image. Or that try to infer a prompt to produce this image. Okay, so there are several computer vision models here. And we see a bit the compulsivity that I said before about these tools. Even when the image is black or even when there is no person there, the tool will try to assign this gender. Because these tools, in another project, we said that these tools are compulsive experts. Maybe they are experts, maybe then classify something, but they do it in a compulsive way. So they are less an expert, therefore, because they cannot stop doing what they are supposed to do. And we like here also, and that's something that we like always, the kind of strange poetry or absurdity that sometimes appears there. So there's a poetry, there's a humor there. And even in a way, we like more, for instance, a prompt for us, it's more interesting, not in an operative way, but it's more interesting like in a literary genre, if we could say so, because there's a very strange enumeration in a prompt. You mix things that usually you won't mix if you were writing. And also in this installation, of course, there's again a dialogue with film tradition. There are two excerpts that has to do a lot with watching. One expert from Peeping Tom and an expert from Cat People, which are two very classic films in film history. There's an excerpt by Agnès Varda and Chris Marker, which both delve on words and images, on how we talk about images. There are two excerpts, one by Vertov and one by an industrial film, which delve on automation. So film as automation and the assembly line as automation. And we have also this film that comes from the Filmoteca de Catalunya, which is a medical film. It's a film about an eye operation, and it's in the middle of the installation. And in a way, this connects to this history of operative images, in a way of using images in an operative context. So that was more or less an overview of some of our computer vision projects. And now I will explain some of our image generation projects. We started working with image generation in 2018, and all the projects we have done related to image generation, we have used GANs. We have used generative adversarial networks. So we do not use diffusion models, and therefore we do not use prompts to produce the images. We trained our own models, we give them a data set, and then explore the latent space that they produce. This is another project we did on image generation, and it was for an exhibition at CCCB, a cultural center and museum in Barcelona. The exhibition was on Mars and on the planet Mars, but in a polyedric way, even dwelling with masculinity. And we had our installation in the non-anthropocentric way of rooms of the exhibition. And for this installation, we compiled a data set of 24,000 scientific illustrations. And here the idea was, the idea behind the data set was a formal one. There are all scientific illustrations, but also a conceptual one, because they were all species that can survive in extreme conditions. So they are thought for special exploration, but also species that are related to the Martian imaginary, like octopuses or cactuses, etc. So it was trying to use these tools as a sort of speculative imagination in a way. And these are some of the images that this GAN generated. In the installation, as you see, we showed as well the data set here. So we want to see the data set and we want to see what it's produced there. We want to show a bit all the way it works. And these are some of the results of this GAN trained on this data set. And yeah, the idea here is this speculative imagination, this kind of confusion of the species. And this is just one image that from project that we did after, because for us here was interesting that we worked with Photography Archive of Barcelona, and they had, and it was an exhibition on the 60s, Barcelona in the 60s, and they had digitized only a small amount of images, only 200 images, which will be quantitatively wouldn't in an industrial way, wouldn't anybody will consider this a data set, but for us it was, we can train a gun with this. What will happen if we do that? So that's also a way of thinking for us. It was kind of a poor data set in a way. And it returned this image that said something about the data set, because here we see kind of it's kind of a mockery of the politicians so it's a mockery of something that it's in this archive. And this is kind of, again, of not mimetic AI or using a poor data set in a way. I'm going really fast. I hope you understand more or less what we do and what we like to do. And we have some projects which are related to text generation. For instance, we trained a model on the dictionary. So we have a model that can mimic the dictionary and defines anything you want to define. Of course, it's not proper definitions, but are interesting ones. We did a book with a Catalan writer, Irene Solà, a very well-known Catalan writer. And we did this project with CCCB as well, which is called the Infinite Talk. And in this project, the idea was to convert the archive of CCCB into a data set, which we can also think if this is maybe the fate of every archive today, to become a data set for something. And we trained a generative tool on this archive. And the project was more about not the results, but about asking questions about these tools, about their value. And here the idea was that we had this tool that can mimic the talk of the center, can mimic the way a lecture gives a lecture. And it was the Infinite Talk. There was a screen in the patio of CCCB, and it was an 11-hour conference. So there you could see a text generation that was like speaking like a conferencier, like a lecturer for 11 hours. And the idea here was more to ask questions. So do we have these tools that can reproduce things, but what is the value of the things that these tools say? Or what is the value of being able to achieve this inhuman temporality? Nobody can give an 11-hour talk, but what happens when we have an 11-hour talk? It's like opening the faucet, no, and letting water run. No, we can open the faucet and let words run, but is this worth? And in this exhibition at Jeu de Paume, we had another installation that is called Repetition Penalty, and it's about text generation. And in this installation, we forced some of these models to produce something that we found when we train generative models, text models, which are very, very strange and very long enumerations. In working with these text generation models, we find some enumerations from pages and pages of enumerations that no human will ever write, but that were interesting in a way from a literary point of view for us. And also it was interesting because the enumeration points us to the statistical nature of these tools. These tools are statistical, therefore they can say a word, but they can use also a word that is very close to this and another one which is very close to this. And that is why they sometimes tend to produce this very crazy enumeration. And in this installation, we forced this. That was something that we found in our previous works with text generation. We had several LED screens, and they all started with the same enumeration. Some were written by us, some are very well-known reference, like the Chinese Encyclopedia Imagine by Borges, by the Argentinian writer. And they started all together, but bit by bit, they start to diverge. Okay, so it's like you see an arborescence, and a statistical arborescence, like if you are traveling the textual Latin space of this model. And you see a bit like the craziness of this model. You see the statistical nature of AI. No, don't worry. Okay. And yeah, for us also it's interesting. It's that what I said before about the prompts. For us, it's more interesting as a literary genre, as a crazy literary genre. And these enumerations, pages and pages of enumerations, it's something that no one will ever read. But when you read it, sometimes you find it interesting. So we find interesting things here, but not in their more operative nature, in a way. And also the title, repetition penalty, is a parameter that these tools have in order to avoid repetition. Because again, because of their statistical nature, they can fall into repetition, because the next more probable thing can be the same that you have said before. So this is an internal parameter. And the installation has these LED screens, but also had another screen, more mechanical one that we like a lot and produces this noise that counts every item of the repetition, of the enumeration. Oop. Okay, so I'm right on time. I will explain just one more project.
Don't worry.
Yeah. And there are other projects which are more a mixture of technology. They don't dwell that much on one technology. They are not that reflexive. And I have 3 here, but I will show just one of it. I will skip this one and also this one. And we'll talk about this, which is also very related to our filmic interest and to film genres like found footage, appropriation, or the film essay. It's called The Vertigo of the Ways of Seeing, and it's an appropriation film that appropriates what the title promises to you. So it appropriates Vertigo, the film by Alfred Hitchcock, and Ways of Seeing, the very famous TV series by John Verrier. And it's a found footage film, but in this found footage film, we used an AI tool. And so it's introducing the AI tools in this tradition. And it has also an essayistic side, of course, because John Verrier Ways of Seeing is an essay. And yeah, I will just end by showing you the first scene of this project. Oh no.
Yes, it's good.
No.
The process of seeing paintings or seeing anything else is less spontaneous and natural than we tend to believe. A large part of seeing depends upon habit and convention. Now, perspective centers everything on the eye of the beholder. is like a beam from a lighthouse. Only instead of light traveling outwards, appearances travel in. And our tradition of art called those appearances reality.
Yeah, so you see what it is about. It's a 19-minute video, which just mixes John Berger with Vertigo and with this deepfake tool. And also, of course, it's related to our interest on visual culture, on images, and the fact that we are using the deepfake also brings AI also on the discourse, because a lot of things that John Berger says there equally apply, of course, to AI. And that is something that, of course, it's evident, but in a way, sometimes we feel that in the public discourse on AI, it's like if all the things were new, if all things fall from the future to us. And that's why we want to link it to the past, because it's a way to, we feel sometimes like if, when people talk about AI, it's like, you won't understand it, it's too difficult. I'm parodying it, but like saying it comes from the future, it's too difficult for you. So that's why we want to link it with the past. It's saying, we know a lot of things about the things that AI is working on, and we can discuss a lot of things about this.
Good. Many thanks, Daniel, for your presentation. Now, questions from the audience, maybe? Yes, please. You have to come here. Sorry, but...
Want me to? You want me to get out from? Grazie.
Okay, it works now. Again, many thanks, Daniel, for your presentation. It was really, really thoughtful and smart and interesting. And I was, I'm impressed by what you said about open the image. And the idea when yesterday we talked about the AI, generative AI, as a co-author, and the question of authorship and in art. And I think that the way of game play and break the system to show how an archive can become a data set, or train a poor data set, or train a data set with poor images. And you know, the works about computer vision was really interesting, because as Melanie Mitchell says, among the easiest things that machine can do, the hardest is to see. Because to see is always a political decision. And, you know, and this is, in my opinion, the things to do with the AI to underline also the specificity of vision, and try to deal with the concept that Rancière of a thoughtful image. He spoke about an image pensive. An image that make things that make us something to us. Thank you.
Thanks. Yeah, I think thanks for the comment and for the appreciation. Yeah, we like. I mean, I agree totally 100% with you. We agree with you totally %. And yeah, it's this idea that, in fact, we started working with this, and we read things like that, machine sees. And for us, it was like, okay, this is amazing, this is novel, it's interesting, but it was this, not anything stops here. Rather, a lot of things starts here, no? Because we know a lot of things about seeing. It can be violent to see. It has a gender. Okay, so that's what we wanted to, and to point to all this, that in a way, sometimes it's not addressed. It's like giving a this, I mean, to point to the obvious, that it's not addressed. It's like machines draw, machines see, machines create, but it's like if we don't think about this and to focus on this, it's something that we find very interesting. And that's also why we like a lot the words we use to talk about this. And that's also why we say that the words are embedded in the technology. It's not like we are playing around and we are taking a detour and not working with the technology. How we talk about things is how things are for us. And also about authorship that you mentioned at the beginning. I was taking notes in the morning. I had plenty of things here. Okay. But I think authorship is interesting, not from an or we can take apart the artistic discourse about authorship. And also we are 5, so for us it's very dispersed, and we work with appropriation, so it's also very dispersed. But I think it's interesting in AI discourse because authorship asks for our responsibility, and also we said that before, that it's automation, but it's not autonomous. AI, it's not autonomous. So somebody has decided what it wants to automate. Somebody has decided that the model automate things properly. Somebody has decided that the outcome, it's okay for them. If the outcome doesn't suit the desires of the people that has wanted to automate something, they won't use that model, and somebody is responsible. So of course, authorship in aesthetics, it has a lot of discussion about it, and we are not that about authorship about something that it's yours, but I think it's interesting in the AI discourse, at least because it asks for this idea that responsibility, and there is someone doing something there. And sometimes in the AI discourse, it's like if nobody was doing anything, like if the machine it's doing it by itself, which is of course impossible.
Thank you. Other questions? I don't know if there is Alice who wants to or not. No, it's just yes. Is there any other question? Because I have one, Daniel. Yes. About reflex actions. How do you intervene as a practitioner? How do you intervene, if this is the case, into this compulsive nature of AI? This is my first question. And about appropriation. You said also that filtering materials and images is projecting meaning. So how does it work with appropriation? How do you choose your footage, for example, film? And again, how do you intervene into this material?
Yes. About the compulsive nature, we like to point to that because we like this. It was in one of the first projects that we found this mixture of words, the compulsive expert, no? Because we trained a computer vision model to classify images with art genres. Okay, so and a lot of people has done this, and there are several models that can classify art genres. But what we find more interesting, it worked properly, it more or less properly. It was on the data set of WikiArt, I think it's called, and it worked properly. But we find more interesting that whatever image we give to this model, it will classify it on an art genre. So this compulsive nature, what's interesting to us, not doing what a human can do, on a strange scale, but the fact that we can provide any image to that, and it can do this correspondence between the image and the art genre. And the footage we choose and the images we choose, we like this a strange relation of the historical and the contemporary. One thing is these images on glass and black and white, but with these very bright colors of the label. And we like to point to traditions. Of course, we didn't use here, but Marey is very well known. All these images of the bodies, which are rendered as lines. So when he studies the movement, you have this image in mind. I think when he studies the movement, I mean, it's the beginning also of the abstraction in a way. So there's a link from Marey to computer vision tools. We had there a computer vision tools that try to, that does pose estimation, that any image that we give to this tool gives you an escalate, the body, and that's something that Marey also wanted to do. And we want to use things that work kind of reflexive with the tool. That's why I pointed to this image by Orson Welles, which is the mirror, and you clearly see that it's the same person, but the tool says it's different person because the tool doesn't care about that.
Thanks a lot. So, Emanuele, just very briefly, yes, we have a light lunch in a while.
Thank
Oh,
you
yes.
very much for the presentation, very interesting, and your work. Just a quick question: if you consider the fact that you effectively analyze the visual aspects of these machines, and you mentioned the fact that this is kind of meta medium, and as Manovic also told this morning, work. But did you also reflect on the fact that your work somehow is also training, so to say, the present visual system, because your work is probably partly online, is accessible, and so somehow I could expect that AI learn from your work. So the question is, did you consider also this aspect of a kind of meta reflection of the systems on this kind of critical reflection on the system itself, so to say? I was wondering about this.
Yeah, of course. Anything that it's on the internet now, it can be used in order to train, and we use Google products and we use social media. We try to be aware of this, and we're trying to point to this. For instance, when we teach about AI, we always want to, the first thing that we say, it's this, that it's automation, and that it grows from this idea or from this big data ideology. So that the fact that because it has been developed, because now we have the hardware, but now also there's this large amount of data, and there's a lot of enterprises that have accumulated large amounts of data, and they are trying to figure out what to do with that. They claim that there's a lot of economical value there, and in the market there's a lot of economical value there, but they try to develop things in order to. So, I mean, for us, we cannot escape from something. We use Google products, we use Gmail, for instance, but we are aware of this. And I don't know if Rock, that is taking a picture of me right now and putting it in social media, maybe wants to say something about this as well. Yeah. Sure. Yeah, sure. Yeah. And that's also why we like to the porn model. we always explain it because we like the aesthetics, and the first idea was, in that time, data sets were not that big. So you have to look for something that was heterogeneous, but homogeneous as well. You understand me? Okay. So we look for these kind of things. And that's why we thought, we trained one model on a Maya Deren film, for instance. And it was like saying, okay, what happened if you consider a film which is heterogeneous, but is homogeneous as well, because it's one film, it's by one artist. And the porn, it came to our minds in this way. It's very, no, it's the very same again and again and again and again with different bodies. Just so that was the idea there. But also we explain it a lot, this project, because it's very telling about this machine-to-machine loop and about what happened or what could happen when we, and it's something that it's happening now, that we are giving a lot of decisions, a lot of things in this machine-to-machine feedback loops. So giving away our hands, our responsibility on things. And yeah, I agree that we want to give awareness on this, and we do it with our artistic projects and with humor, poetry. I mean, that's all the tools we like and that we try to use for this.
Good. Many thanks again to Daniel Pitarch Fernandez and to Collective Tallere Stampa. We meet at 2:30 in the afternoon.